Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping true crime stories just like this. I need to tell you something before we start. A lot of you watched part 1 of this story, and a lot of you left the same comment. What happened after? And I want to be upfront, the answer is not what you're expecting. Because when people ask what happened after, they mean, did things get better? And the honest answer is yes. But not the way you think, not cleanly, not quickly, not in the way that feels satisfying from the outside. The way things got better for Claire Holloway was slow and strange and uncomfortable and real. And I think it's one of the most important parts, so let's go back. The verdict came in on a Tuesday, 12 years. Claire sat in that courtroom and heard the word guilty and felt nothing, not relief. Not joy, just a kind of profound silence inside herself that felt oddly familiar. She had spent 2 years learning to live inside silence. This silence was empty, not in a bad way. Like a room after something heavy has been carried out. Hollow, echoing slightly, but lighter. She walked out of that courthouse and got into the car with her sister Joanna. She didn't say a single word for 45 minutes. Joanna drove. She had learned finally not to mistake silence for being fine. Here is something nobody tells you about surviving. The verdict is not the finish line. It feels like it should be. The case closes, the story ends. But for the person who lived it, the verdict is just the moment the scaffolding comes down. For Claire, that meant mornings where she didn't know where she was. Evenings where the orange-gray dusk landed in her chest like something physical. Her therapist, Dr. Patterson, described it this way: trauma doesn't organize itself around legal timelines. It doesn't wait for verdicts, it stays. Claire spent the first 3 months after the verdict barely leaving her rental house. This surprised people. Her friends expected the verdict to be a key. What they got instead was a woman who needed to sit very still. And slowly, quietly, her friends learned to sit with her. 6 months later, Daniel Marsh filed a second appeal. Claire found out on a Thursday morning while standing in front of her classroom. She stepped into the hallway, listened, said thank you, hung up, stood with her back flat against the wall for 60 seconds. The difference now was that she knew she was appearing fine, and she knew it was temporary. She called her support system and told them everything. The second appeal was denied. Claire was in her garden. She listened, hung up, and stayed in the dirt and the light of that ordinary Tuesday. A year and 3 months later, Claire wrote Daniel Marsh a letter. Not to reconcile, but to say things a courtroom never gave her room to say. She never sent it. She didn't need to. The point was that she took up space on a page or space. Her words, her truth. She put it in a drawer and made coffee. Dr. Patterson asked how it felt. Claire said, like putting something down I'd been holding forever. Daniel Marsh is serving his sentence. Claire still teaches. Her garden is 3 times the size it was. She has a large, ridiculous dog now. Surviving is not the same as recovering. Recovery is slower and less linear. It looks like 60 seconds against a hallway wall on a Thursday. It looks like a garden getting bigger every spring. It looks like letting people who love you ask the same question more than once. And sometimes, on an ordinary Tuesday in your own backyard, it looks exactly like fine for the first time, for real. Comment if you believe the truth can be hidden in plain sight. Subscribe for more shocking true crime stories that defy belief. Like, share,